So I recently did a video that was more of like a video diary, well, video blog, about racism. Oh, excuse me. Now, I was watching a video, the nigga with the tattoos. I subscribed to all his videos. I've seen a lot of his videos. He definitely speaks his mind, and I 100% appreciate that. He did this video about racism on Halloween and how white people are using Halloween to show their racist side. And I had a couple instances with this topic throughout this whole Halloween. By the way, can I just say, that was like the longest motherfucking Halloween ever. I mean, the shit started on Saturday and ended the following Friday. And I mean, hell, even people were still, I think I saw someone dressed up on a Saturday. And maybe, I think it was like Day of the Dead or some shit. But shit, that was a long ass motherfucking Halloween. Anyway, so I had two instances at work and then one outside of work. And then someone also shared a story with me. So I just thought that I needed to do a video on this because it was time. So first instance, I was at work. I dressed up as Mike Tyson. Had the whole tattoo done. I was wearing a boxer outfit and had my, like the robe that they wear. I had that on, and I was serving drinks. This guy comes up to the bar. He's like, "Oh, where are you supposed to be?" I'm like, "Mike Tyson." Like, I pulled back, things to show him. He's like, "Oh, because for a second I thought you were Trayvon Martin." I'm like, "Okay." And he said it real nice, but I'm like, "Bitch, really? Like, that's where you want to take this? Like, Trayvon Martin?" So the second instance was the following Thursday, the actual day of Halloween. I dressed up as a nerd. I had the glasses and the pocket protector and the high pants and suspenders and all that. This guy stops me. He's like, "Oh, what is your costume? What are you supposed to be?" And educated. And then right as he said that, I was already like, okay, here we go. And he said, educated. Then he stopped and corrected himself and said, overly educated, what did he say? Like, overly educated Harvard student. And I just paused and looked at him. Yeah, that's what I am. We can go with that. I was just like, this motherfucker was about to dig himself into a hole, but he retracted what he said, and I'm sure he thought about it. So that same night, because what he said just didn't really sit right with me. First of all, I didn't want to be in the presence of people anyway, trying to work on Halloween. I fucking hate Halloween. I don't celebrate that shit. I'm not about it in any way, shape, or form. The only reason I did it, or the only reason I went out, was because I had people in town. I was trying to show them a good time. Otherwise, I don't fuck with Halloween like that. That is not a day that the Lord has made, okay? Let me just say that. So I go to one of my customers, he's a black guy, and I tell him what just happened. I'm like, I think like that was kind of racist. And he was like, I was in Tacoma, and for those of you who know, if you live in Washington, or even if you don't, but Tacoma is like where the niggas be, okay? You can't go to Tacoma and not see motherfucking black people. So he's saying he was taking like his niece and nephew like trick or treating, or like his cousins or whatnot, and they all go to a certain neighborhood in Tacoma where the houses are nicer and it's more safe to trick or treat there with children, because Tacoma can be a little sketchy for those of you who have been down there who know. So he was saying he was taking them out trick or treating up in this nice neighborhood, and oh, no, he wasn't taking them trick-or-treat. He was at this guy's house in the nice neighborhood, and people from outside of Tacoma were coming in to trick or treat. So he was at a friend's house in this neighborhood, and the guy who lived at the house, so he said he didn't acknowledge him at all the whole time he was at this house. White guy didn't acknowledge him the whole time he was at this house, and he was like, all right, I just checked it up to him being into his costume and trying to get ready for the night. So, he just brushed that off, whatever. So then some trick-or-treaters started coming to the door. And some black kids came to the door. And he said he swear that he heard him say, like, why are they coming to this neighborhood? Why they gotta come, in our neighborhood or some shit like that? I'm just like, really? Like, especially in Tacoma. Like, that's like living in Compton and a white person saying, like, what the fuck are they doing coming over here? Like, it's just amazing that no matter where a white person goes, they think that they're privileged like that. And I mean, ugh, that shit just pisses me off. Well, before I'm not going to even go into that just yet. So, the fourth instance. Now, this one happened. I was hanging out with a bunch of people, and we had been drinking and whatnot. And there was only one white person in this group of people that was hanging out with us. And he's not by any means hood, street, smart, or anything to classify him as a, like, a down white boy. Because I met some white boys who I'm like, you are down. You get it. Honorary black, So the topic comes up that if the N-word comes up in a song, can he sing it? And I'm like, no. Like, that was my first reaction was no. I mean, I didn't think the better question would be, why do you want to say it in the first place? So, pretty much, it turned into a debate because he didn't understand. He's like, well, they say it, so why can't I? And this is my feeling on it, white people. Excuse me. I'm not saying y'all can say the word, and I'm not saying that you can't. But I think if you are going to say the word, you need to choose where and who you are going to say it around. Because you can say it in the comfort of your own home. You can say it in the comfort of your own car. And the funny thing about it, which was like the most ironic thing, which is why I felt like I had to do this video. Because sometimes, the Lord just be leading you to do certain things. White Chicks was on at the time of this debate. And I mean, like, we were getting it in this debate. White Chicks was on. And it was the part where they were singing in the car. And, the N-word came on. It's like, oh, we can't say that. Like, it was that part. So I'm like, look over, and we're sitting here arguing. I look over, I'm like, really? Like, that's just a motherfucking sign. So, I know that white people is going to say it in the comfort of their own home. I know they're going to say it around other white people or with their other white friends. Like, that is something that that's a given to me. I mean, fucking look at Paula Deen and where this bitch is at, okay? But to make the basis of your argument, oh, well, rappers say it, and it's in the song, so, well, say it then. Go to a fucking hip-hop club and, yeah, we the realest, nigga. Yeah, and see what the fuck happens. So it really went from him not understanding why he couldn't say this word, and I'm explaining to him that it has a historical meaning behind it that you will never not understand, at least from our side of the fence, because your people are the one who created this word and used it to oppress us. It has a cultural, and I'm talking about nigga, not nigger. But either way, it's got a cultural difference that he will never understand. Damn it, I lost my train of thought, but I'm gonna get it back. It's fading. damn it. It'll come back to me. But I do not condone white people using the word. Oh, so what ended up happening was the word came up that black people say cracker, and then that's when cracker got brought up as like, oh well, cracker is just as equally offensive as nigger, and I'm like, no. And the person who was saying this was not even a white person; it was a Polynesian person. I'm like, no, cracker is not offensive at all. Cracker is a term that defines the person cracking the whip in the field. To describe that, that's not offensive to me. Cracker was never used as to define a race or a color of skin. I'm sorry. No. So, in no way, shape, or form, those words will never have the same weight. And so, it pretty much got to saying, like, you shouldn't say nigga and you shouldn't say cracker. Well, I know what the word means to me and how I use it, so I'm going to say it regardless. That's just how it is and how it's going to be, point blank, period. I call many of people that. I even call white people that from time to time. And I mean, like, I've heard white people sing it in song, and depending on the white person, I haven't been offended by it, but if, some redneck motherfucker is sitting up here trying to sing a rap song and using the ER every time, like, no, that's bullshit. So then the word faggot got brought up too as a word that is just as offensive as nigger. And that's one thing that pisses me off about gay people, and I may lose a lot of respect in the gay community for this, but I could give two shits because this is just how the fuck I feel. Gay people always try to compare, like, their struggle with the black struggle. Like, that's like the new shit. You got gay marriage, and gay marriage, it's civil rights, it's blah 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 blah. And no, I'm sorry, I don't get down with that shit. I'm not one to support gay marriage. I'm not for it, and I'm not against it. I'm very much just whatever happens happens. But you ain't gonna catch me getting married. So they try to say that faggot is just as offensive as nigger. I'm sorry, it's not. Yes, there are gay people who have grown up, and I mean, me, even myself, I've grown up and I've been called that word, but that word was never as offensive as hearing the word nigger, because nigger is just like the lowest blow that you could, like, it's just like this, And I'm not even saying, like, I get pissed off at it, but, like, it's just, like, you really had to, like, stoop to that level. Like I said, there's people out there who are being bullied and being, getting called that and bullied on a regular day basis. But, there's something that can be done about that. You can change your behavior. If you are being made fun of because you're gay, you can change that. You know how to adapt in society. That's one thing I had to learn how to do, and that's one thing that I know a lot of people who are gay and black had to do throughout time. You have to learn how to fucking assimilate, because you want to be an individual and be, flailing down the street all the time. You gotta suffer the consequences that come with that. That's just what it is. But faggot and nigga, they don't compare. Yes, they are offensive in their own right, but I'm sorry. Back to saying the word nigga, like, my cousin was talking about, he's like, well, Lil Wayne is getting paid, $50,000 to say the word nigga, and he's like, and what are you bringing in? And that's the truth. Like, Lil Wayne's getting paid money to nigga this, nigga that. You ain't making checks. And I'm not even saying that if you make that kind of money, you can say that, because Eminem is making that kind of money. And has anyone heard him say that shit? Macklemore, I mean, he ain't rich like that yet, but he ain't said that shit yet. Yellow Wolf, I don't know how many of y'all know about him, but I don't believe he said that shit either. You know, so there's an amount of respect that people have not to say it. Especially if you know the history on it. And this white guy, what pissed me off even more is that he started this whole debate. And at the point when he started feeling like he's being attacked because he's ignorant, he decided that he was going to step out and go smoke a cigarette. And he wanted to I'm just going to back out of this one. So he left all of us standing there to just argue it out. When we weren't even the ones who were cared in the first place. Like, it wasn't even an issue. And I had people trying to tell me that just because I didn't even live it, so why am I so upset about it when I haven't even lived that? But, that is my history, and that is my family's history. That's where I come from. So, yes, I'm going to get pissed off about it. I'm going to try to teach someone who is ignorant. And not only that, not only someone who's ignorant, but someone who hasn't bothered to look into it, read about it, only goes off of what they know in public schools and pretty much what they see on TV. And, those things are really teaching you something. So, I go outside with the white guy, and we talk one-on-one, because I'm still heated at this point. I'm like, you are not motherfucking getting it. You're sitting up here just playing dumb, and now I understand you may not be racist, but the fact that you're trying to play ignorant when I know that you know what the fuck is up. You went to college, okay? You are educated. You have a good job. So, nigga is not a new word to you. We're too far in this day and age for you to not understand what the fuck nigga means, okay? It isn't like ratchet is now the new term for niggas, and you can't understand why you can't say ratchet, okay? Niggas been around. Niggas been around. So, he tried to say, oh, well, you know that I'm a little blonde, I'm a little, naive. I don't pardon ignorance as naivety. They're not the same. It's one thing to be naive about something and just be a little dumb, but like I said, we're too far into, it's 2013. If you don't understand it, this isn't a word that you just heard. And looking for me for the answer to grant you the permission, you looking in the wrong motherfucking place. You need to do some history. You need to, read some books, get in the library, do something. But, yeah. Saying the N-word, like I said, white people, y'all gonna do it either way. Even that bitch Krayshawn, if y'all ever heard of this bitch, she's some little random white girl who raps, and she started saying the word nigga, and I wish she would go to a tell that bitch to go perform in Watts. Krayshawn, yeah, go perform in Watts, bitch, or don't be performing at these little white areas where you gonna say the word nigga left and right. Go perform in a hood spot and see what the fuck happens. So, that's what the fuck I had to say about that. And this has been another Markisfine Moment in time.